If you're waiting for more Andor, it's coming, but I had my first paid commission. Scott B says, I'd love to hear your deadpan, highbrow, analytical style, is that what I am? Applied to something tonally very different. My favourite comedy, The Inbetweeners. The last 8 minutes of the Thorpe Park episode, comprising queuing for and riding for the roller coaster and the walk back to the car afterwards. And I'll give you an extra 20 quid if you can convincingly tie this into your channel's theme of authoritarianism somehow. I cackled when this came in. I love The Inbetweeners and I know the scene very well. And as for the authoritarianism angle, hell, that's easy. Let's go. After a stressful day of travel, our 4 heroes have finally reached the rides just in time to hear their closing. It's the British day out in miniature, travel chaos, embarrassment and a brief glimpse of pleasure followed immediately by a tannoy announcing its end. Simon's car has already lost a door, Neil's dignity has dissolved somewhere near lost property and Jay's libido is performing guerrilla warfare on reason itself. Only Will, despite reeling from the smell of Neil's arse, is steadfast in principle. He still believes the world can be ordered. He thinks the rules will hold. Thorpe Park is the perfect setting for this illusion. It's an ecosystem of managed chaos, a bureaucratic playground where every thrill is ticketed, timed and supervised. The loudspeaker voice calling last ride on the Nemesis Inferno doesn't invite fun, it enforces compliance. The voice of joy sounds indistinguishable from the voice of the state. Will narrates his own life with the tone of a documentary presenter who knows he's the only one taking it seriously. To him, a queue is not an inconvenience, it's civilization in visible form, proof that decency still functions if people simply stand where they're told. Jay, meanwhile, represents entropy. His relationship with language is purely biological, words as pheromones, signals, and sometimes weapons. Jay's obsession with clunge and muff isn't really about sex. It's a linguistic disguise for fear, the terrified logic of a boy who's built an entire religion around something he suspects he'll never experience. The louder he says it, the less he has to prove, or that's what he thinks anyway. Neil, as ever, is post-irony. Simon drifts between them, the last reformist in a collapsing republic. When the group reach Nemesis Inferno, the scene settles into its final shape. The queue isn't background anymore, it's the stage, the system, the antagonist. Will's commentary grows pedantic. He measures patience in units of virtue. When Jay mocks him, "You're mental," Will counters with moral arithmetic. Enjoyment equals waiting multiplied by fairness. They queue for 90 minutes, then finally at the front, something breaks. A ride attendant calls out, "Room for one more at the front?" In most stories, that would mean nothing. Here, for Will, it's the collapse of an entire worldview. There should be room. The numbers were fixed, the rules were clear, and yet suddenly the system has produced an anomaly. 3 people at the front, 1 empty seat, the fragile illusion of order punctured. It was supposed to be he and his friends, and it's the last ride of the day. Will's reaction is immediate and crucially righteous. He believes he's witnessing moral decay in real time. He shouts at the attendant with the desperation of a citizen defending democracy from administrative failure. "They've pushed in, get them off and make them move." The queue is Britain's purest form of authority, power created entirely by consent. No law enforces it, no officer patrols it, yet everyone obeys. Its order exists because we collectively agree to imagine it does. The queue is the nation's most successful experiment in self-governance, an invisible architecture of restraint where morality and patience become the same thing. To break it is to reject not just etiquette but community itself. It's authority by consensus, a dictatorship of politeness. The others try to calm him, but Will's fury is unstoppable. In his head, this is the Battle of Britain, and he's the last man standing between civilization and chaos. And then, the reveal. He sits down at the front, still ranting about inconsiderate arseholes, still convinced he's defending justice, and finally, as he finishes, he looks to his left. 3 boys with Down syndrome. The joke is instant, cruel, and perfectly designed. But beneath the laughter sits a small, brutal truth. Will's moral framework didn't fail. It was incomplete. The queue is moral, but morality isn't tidy. It has exemptions, complications, faces. It has kindness. The camera doesn't cut away through the ride, it holds, letting Will's shame radiate through the harness. During the ride, he stares down at his lap, unthrilled. The motion that promised transcendence delivers only nausea. This is the first time he realizes that being correct and being good are not the same. When the ride is over, the social order reasserts itself in the only way teenage boys know how: mockery. The others have seen who he shouted at. Jay is delighted. Neil is theological. Simon tries to soften it with sympathy, but he can't. The laughter is cruel, but it's also stabilizing. It's the laughter of a tribe restoring balance through humiliation. Back in the car park, the universe finishes the job. First, the brilliant gag about Simon and the garage. The joke mirrors Will's downfall. Innocent, blind faith that systems are always there to protect you. Both Will and Simon trust in systems they don't quite understand the workings of. Simon ignores Neil's repeated statement that the man works evenings when mechanics don't, because to admit that would mean accepting that there's no one competent coming to save him. It's the same failure of imagination that drove Will's meltdown at the roller coaster, the belief that the world should work a certain way, and the existential heartbreak when it doesn't. Then we arrive at Simon's car. It's been destroyed. 2 wheels are gone. The sign overhead reads Car Park D, which might as well stand for despair. The moral, however, is delivered by a horn, the disabled boys from the ride, now triumphant, being driven past in a bus, flipping the bird in euphoric revenge. Will shrugs. Yes, that makes sense. It shows he comprehends. The system was fair after all. Justice arrived. The authoritarianism of the queue lies in its beauty. It promises fairness through obedience. It teaches that waiting is virtue, that stillness equals worth. It asks us to believe that the universe is a single line progressing toward reward, that good people get their turn. But the moment someone steps out of line, or needs a different kind of line, the illusion fractures. Will mistakes the queue for a moral structure when really it's an administrative one. It's not about justice, it's about efficiency, and yet somehow it's still sacred because it's the last thing holding chaos at bay. The British queue is our most enduring act of faith. If we stand still long enough, something fair will happen. That's why Will's breakdown feels bigger than embarrassment. It's existential. He's not just shouting at children, he's shouting at the terrifying idea that fairness requires flexibility, that moral order isn't linear, it's alive, and that real decency begins where the rails stop. The final irony is that the queue wins. It absorbs his rebellion, corrects him through humiliation, and spits him out better behaved. He'll still queue next time, he'll still believe. The scene opened with the smell of Neil's anus hot in Will's nostrils and now closes with the same air of inescapable humanity. That's the real lesson of Thorpe Park. No matter how intricate our systems of order, civilization never quite covers the scent of what we are underneath. Foolish, vain, occasionally kind, and always slightly disgusting. The queue, like the nation it represents, is an attempt to mask that truth with deodorized procedure. If you want to commission me to analyze your favorite scene from a TV show or movie, the next one is $85 and you can request it at the upstairs lounge at proton.me. First come, first served, please form an orderly queue.